G'day, how's it going? It's your mate, Failbait, coming at you with a Shadowverse 101 Legendary card review. So this is going to be Failbait Reviews, Legendaries from Dawnbreak NightEdge Part 1. And as we all know, it is common practice for streamers to get card reviews wrong, so hopefully in a month's time we can look back at this and laugh as Failbait Reviews. But before we get started on this review, let's go through the rating system. The rating system will use Tartman as the qualifier because all of these legendaries wish they were as good as Tartman. So if a card rates with 1 Tartman, it means the card won't be played. For 2 Tartmen, the cards will see some competitive play in the first month or so, but not really used after that, or if they are used, it will be for very niche situations. For 3 Tartmen, the card will be used in some top tier decks, but are not auto includes. For 4 Tartmen, they will have to define a tier 2 deck or see play in a tier 1 deck, but not as the main focus. And finally, for that illustrious but elusive 5 Tartmen, the legendary has to be the defining point of a deck that could be in the top tier. So I'm rating these cards for rotation. Now let's get started with Godsworn Alexiel, an 8-cost minion with only 5/5 stats that makes it severely understated even with the ward. Its ability to prevent OTKs doesn't seem relevant in rotation at the moment, and while it does fit into an 8-cost slot between Heavenly Knight and Aegis to protect yourself in the late game, ultimately its effect is too situational and meta dependent to be a must-have, and I don't think we'll see decks built around this. As such, it rates as only 2 Tartmen. On to our next card, That Which Erases. So here we have another high-cost minion with severely poor stats. The 6 attack is practically useless without Rush or an Evolve waiting, and while the defense is only at 4, meaning it's incredibly vulnerable to minions on board and spell damage. Its effect is impressive, but without necessary combo pieces, its effect has 0 immediate impact. So just off the top of my head, you could play Biofabrication with this maybe for that immediate impact, but otherwise it's too slow to be used in a deck that really hits its stride after turn 6. That said, similar to Magna Legacy, it may find some use in clearing boards. As such, we have another 2 Tartman card. Moving on to a 6-cost minion here, White Vanara in Forestcraft, has 5/5 stats and ward, and while the stats and keyword are useful, its best effect is that it can evolve when buffed. There are a few 0-cost buff spells, one of which was recently revealed with Yggdrasil, but otherwise there's no way to get this effect immediately on turn 6. Sybil, for example, only gives the buff at the end of the turn, and you obviously don't want to be giving Storm to a minion that has been on the field for 1 turn already. This could see play in aggro decks, however it is far outclassed by things like Jungle Warden or other 6-drops like Crystalia Eren, and as such, I don't think this will see much competitive play in the next few months at all, giving it only 1 Tartman. Marduk. Good stats for its cost as a neutral legendary, but the rough restriction of not being able to play followers from hand makes this a difficult auto-include in most decks. I can see it having a place in amulet-focused decks, particularly with the new Lion archetype for some interesting shenanigans and face damage, but otherwise, this is not the legendary you want to see when opening your packs. 1 Lonely Tartman. Moving on to Dark Feast Bat, a 7-drop Bloodcraft legendary that again has lower stats, but this one has the benefit of having immediate impact on the board, namely in the form of burn damage. So it combos nicely with recent card reveals that inflict self-damage and has good interaction with common blood cards like Razor Claw, so it could end up dealing lots of damage or even potential ODKs. For that reason, I can see specific decks built around this card, or at least finding a place in some form of Vengeance deck. And that means that this gets 3 Tartmen, but it won't be a meta-defining deck or card by any means. Vanya Nightshade Vampire, on the other hand, could be a meta-defining card, at least for Bloodcraft. So the bats themselves are not a new archetype to the game, but are strong and can overwhelm opponents. With Vanya's ability to improve the bats with either Ward from the Kind Queen or Bane from the Blood Queen, means she can help the player adapt to any situation. The fact that she can get Drain, as we can see here, or Storm, as we can see here, is also useful and can swing a game in the player's favour. With a handful of more bat support revealed, such as Gift for Bloodkin, there will be decks built around this legendary that will make a mark on the meta. It's a powerful card on curve, a good late game card, and as such, again, I think Bloodkin could have that impact on the meta that Bloodcraft is looking for, so I expect big things from this, and I'm giving it 5 Tartmen out of 5. On to Lindworm, we have the card that gives us the choice of either Blue Eyes, White Dragon, or a Red Eyes Black Dragon. This is the next late game card for Ramp Dragon that can offer healing with Blue Eyes, or late game finishes with the Red Eyes offering Storm. While the conditions to be met are a little tricky, there's no shortage of spells and amulets that can be found in Dragon decks, and it shouldn't be too difficult to meet by turns 9 or 10. I think this will see play in an already strong deck, Ramp Dragon, and while it doesn't quite match the power of Saha Isra or the Bahamut tilting combos, it will still be a useful include for Ramp Dragon in a usefully powerful deck, earning it 4 Tartmen. Then, next, we have Rooney, Destiny's Bard, the Runecraft spell boosting legendary. The choice it offers allow for a lot of versatility, whether it be playing for value with Pot of Greed, or putting your opponent on a timer with the Doom Boon. So Rooney herself has a good spell boost effect that can be immediately used with an evolve on turn 4, and as such I think this card will find a spot in Mysteria and or spell boost decks, and could even quite possibly see a deck built around her, particularly with the Doom Boon. Putting her in a deck with Giant Chimera is a spell boost overkill just waiting to happen, and I want to see it at least once. So for all of these reasons, she earns 4 glorious Tartmen. And now onto the last card for this part 1 review, we have Keridwen, the Eternity Hunter, a Shadowcraft legendary that utilizes 2 of Shadowverse's underrepresented keywords. There's the Reanimate for 10, meaning it can revive a minion that costs 10 at least. And I think this Reanimate mechanic is being heavily pushed in this expansion and will continue to develop the Dragoncaller builds that we have slowly but surely seen appearing in the ladder for the last 2 months. She also offers damage with Burial Rite there, giving some pretty good versatility if you need to remove a minion, but obviously the Reanimate is the money choice. Since Keridwen becomes an auto-include in those Reanimate decks, and that she can even have a deck built around her, means that she rates very highly. I also think Reanimate will become the next powerful high roll deck, spamming Zeus over turns 7, 8, 9, and 10, meaning Keridwen earns the illustrious, the elusive, the much desired 5 Tartmen. So that rounds up our legendaries for Dawnbreak NightEdge Part 1. If you do want to be here for Part 2, make sure you subscribe, and I'm always open to hearing your thoughts and discussion on these legendaries, so feel free to comment or let me know through Twitter or Twitch. Until next time, keep searching for those gacha leaders.